Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sketch Club. My name is Jason Meyer, and tonight we're going to be doing some head, neck, and shoulder studies. My two co-hosts are away for the evening, so they'll be back on Sunday. So if you're big fans of those two, you'll have to tune back in Sunday evening at 7 o'clock for next week's Sketch Club. Just over my shoulder here, you can see a little oil rub out technique. We'll be going over that in class tomorrow. And then Monday morning, we'll do the color demonstration on E. Okay, so tonight what we'll do is we got 10 minutes coming up, but first why don't we head to the iPad and look at what we have, and then we'll spend just a couple of minutes on that, and then we'll play the videos and get to sketching. So tonight, wow, what happened there? Anyway, let's just take that away. I'm going to start with this guy. And we've got the shoulder, and the chin is closer to this shoulder, turned away from that shoulder. So that's going to give us a bunch and a pinch right there. So our pinch side is here. Our stretch side is there, our pinch and our stretch. So if we start at the center of the chin, find that center line, and let's go towards the pinch. Over the top, around the back, and up to the pit of the neck. The shoulders, how much bigger this front shoulder is than that back shoulder. All right, we want to see that depth. So although there's things going over it, we want to feel all these things happening, right? We want to feel that that's facing that way, then we turn down and go across this way. Okay, the viewer is not going to see that, but they need to feel that. And then for a little pizzazz, after we get our shadow shapes on, right? Remember those cast shadows? Boom. Then to wrap things up, oh no, no new layers. All right, we'll just backtrack here a little bit. So there's the doingness of the head, of the structure, of the gesture. But as far as the drawing or the painting goes, right? See, we've got a lot there. Then we're going to take a little break there, and then we've got some more action there. So that's going to be my big design. I'm going to try to play this spot up as far as visibility goes, and I'll play this spot up as far as visibility goes as well. So that's my big strategy. That's my big strategy for the night. Hey, Miss Deb Kinney's here. Hey, Miss Kinney, how are you? You just want me to sing, Janny. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Yeah, no, don't have a singing voice, but yes, it does. Good evening, Miss Sue Nash. Cindy, even though she's not here, she's still keeping everything in order. Thanks, baby. You are the best. Okay, for our second one tonight, let's see what we have. Again, we've got a shoulder, and the chin's facing this shoulder, right? So even though it kind of looks here like there's a big stretch, we're bunching up that way, or pinching in that direction. So the center, there's a slight tilt. Let's go the direction of the pinch. Go around to the back of the head, over the top, around the back, Where's the pit of the neck? Okay. Again, the top kind of gives the shoulder away, doesn't it? You see that back shoulder? So we don't want to just copy, but we want to say, hey, this is close to us. This right here is close. This is far away. Almost like a mountain range. You might have the first hills really large and the distant hills really small. So if you can get a hold of a little bit of that in your work, it'll serve you well. And then for the design of the whole thing, give us a nice stop over here. In other words, let this shadow hold as a solid piece, right? And if it holds as a solid piece and it's nice and quiet, then man, we can come over here and do all kinds of stuff. But if we don't have solidity in the shadow, then the movement gets a little bit much. And then the same for the background. You know, make sure that's less. Knock that down. Right? Knock it way down so it's nice and quiet, and it just supports both the shadow and the light. All right. So that's enough of that. Of course, you're always welcome to sketch however you'd like to sketch. Just saying how I might approach it. That's all. That's all. Let's see. Do-si-do. Got that. Oops. Why did my camera disappear? Why did my camera disappear? And it flipped me around. That's not nice. There we go. Okay. So nice and warmed up. We know what we're doing. So are you guys all ready to sketch? You got your stuff? Okay. 10 minutes. We can do it. Let's see what we got. Man, my camera is just being abusive. There it is. Wasn't even nice. So let's see, our first one today. Let's get the reference image. Get that nice and large for you. So I'm just kind of size and placement here. His whole head, and then his shoulders. Trying to fit it into that big movement. Go towards the pinch. And then I'm going to go ahead and indicate the lighting on there. Again, not as his particular head, but just as a volume. Just as a volume. I don't want to be careless about where I end. Right? That's critical information, so I want to be careful about that. Hey, Susan made it. Good evening, Susan. So it's almost like I'm drawing the mannequin first, and then we'll hang a particular person with particular clothing on top of the mannequin. But we just don't want to make haphazard marks about the collars of the shirt or of the jacket. We want those collars and stuff to feel like they're wrapping around a volume, falling over the shoulders. It's critical to get that feeling of solidity. Of three-dimensional solidity at that. All right? If 2 dimensions was enough, we wouldn't have to do anything to a paper. But we need a little bit more to be completely satisfied. And for me at least, I can be completely happy just solving these as abstract shapes. It's just fun drawing the shapes, getting them oriented in space, and then with the right shadow. Especially once you start thinking about design and you get into that as well. Just a really fun game, and if you play it well, you'll have beautiful marks on a paper when you're done. All right, look how just the shadow of the nose can also give you that center line. All right, and so now I'm putting in the eye sockets, not anything in particular, but that the whole volume is what I'm looking for there. Again, from big volumes to smaller volumes. Okay, all that hair tells us we're seeing a little bit of the top of the head. His chin's pointing down just a tad. Just a tad. And then, like I said, we got to make sure that jacket collar is wrapping around the neck and fitting on top of the chest, wrapping over the shoulders. And so your searching lines will work if you're searching around and over. Then if there's some errant marks, they still kind of repeat or mimic or suggest the overall form. And that's the difference between just random scratches and marks on the paper, and then when you look at the old masters, and it seems like even the scratches that were quote unquote wrong or off somehow add to the beauty. Because even if they're not, say, exactly on the edge, or there's more than one of them, it's giving us a movement, right? Suggesting a form. So we laid down the law a little bit this time around, didn't we? Right? We upped the game. I asked for a lot more from your marks to give us a lot more information. And so that's another level of participating in this. First is just making even tones, right? Getting the big volumes. But it's more than that, right? It's about rhythms, it's about design. And since we only have 10 minutes, we don't have a lot of time to fool around. So every time we touch the paper, ideally, we push the image forward. As a reminder, your kneaded eraser is just as big of a tool as the charcoal. And just unless you're just super spectacular, 10 minutes isn't long enough to really worry about a likeness. try to get the general proportions, but more than the likeness, try to get that 3-dimension. Right? The 3-dimension, the feeling of solidity. Somebody could walk behind the guy. Right? They could walk between you and the guy, and they could walk behind the guy. Right? And that ends up being a really interesting problem, that problem of depth. Because it's nothing more than 2 marks sitting right next to one another on paper. So what makes one of those marks look like it's close and the other one look like it's far away? So that background, I can use that to help me turn some of these forms. Soften the edges for those interior edges. And again, look at this, is pretty small. It's not really any bigger than my hand. So the question is, how much can we do with very little? Very little time. Very little time. What can you do with it? Okay, so another important principle I've been pushing this month so far is it evening out that number 4 value. So now look as I go back between the hair that's dark and then the shadows. See if I can't group all of that into a single value shape, right? A single number 4 dark shape. What that'll do is it'll simplify the image and make it stronger. Right, and that white shirt is just such a big part of this. I wanted to make sure to try to get a little bit of that action going. Right, and then I'll quote unquote kind of have my whole thing in there, so to speak. The whole painting. Right, that dark jacket and light still needs to be a little darker. But 10 minutes isn't very long. 10 minutes isn't very long. Looks like our 10 minutes is up on that one. So again, I'm finding the overall shape, right, from the top of her head, down her hair, across her shoulders. I don't know why this is acting funny. Why are you acting funny? There we go. Right, just kind of a sense of the space the whole thing's going to take up. And by starting this way, it helps you quit seeing the details. Quit seeing small and start to see large, which is the idea. See the larger pieces. We're going to work from big to small. And really the finish, the pizzazz, comes from these big, large shapes and setting them up from the very beginning. Like we've been seeing with the head, neck, and shoulder all week, how dynamic the masters make them, and how when we make ours a little more dynamic, it's more satisfying. Right? So hopefully some of you got your awareness, right? You hopefully became aware of a few new things. And on top of that, with the practice you did, you're starting to own some of that understanding yourself. And again, if you'll just not think about finishing so much right now, but just feel the pencil go over the volume. And once you kind of get a feel for that, it becomes a different game, right? There's no need to see how fast you can hurry. It's just enjoyable. Enjoyable, kind of like, reading a good book. The best books, you don't want them to end. Why would you want to finish your best painting? When it's done, it's done. But that doesn't mean lollygag, right? We still need to be as efficient as we can. Keep things as simple as you can, be as efficient as you can, and as descriptive as you can. Right? It seems like there's a lot of different interest happening there. And your opportunity for beautiful stuff is when there's problems that collide. Right? The beautiful solutions to the collision of problems is art. So we're looking for beautiful, simple, descriptive, poetic marks, shapes. Right? And if those beautiful shapes can work a rhythm through the canvas or through the paper, now we've got some music happening. That's a lot to think about, and it takes a little practice to get used to it, but it's just a fun game. I remember one of my first semesters in art school and going into the open sketch. It was just packed. They had the model in the middle of the room, and it was packed. And people like working their tail off, just so focused. And at the end, they just have a bunch of scratches on their face. Well, what are you gonna do with those? Nothing. Oh man, I could not comprehend that. That was more than I could handle. But it's just practice seeing, right? Professional football players don't just show up Sunday game day. No, they're working out all week, they're running, they're studying. Art's the same thing. So this is us keeping in shape here. Keep in shape. And by the way, by doing this, by not trying to finish all the time, by giving yourself a chance to search, you'll discover new things. Right? But if you're always in total control, right, with plenty of time and I'm going to do this and you're eliminating the chance of discovery. So see if you can't, as you work, also be open. Be open. Welcome, Claudia. Whenever you get here. Whenever you're here, it's the right time to be here. So then those initial gestures are almost just placeholders of how to put our shadow in, right? Where the objects go, and then what's in light, what's in shadow. Then how many of those can we combine into a single shape? Right? But not being lazy about it, we still need them to be very descriptive. And the thing is the less you show, the more descriptive it needs to be. So with every mark you're making, ask yourself, what am I showing the viewer? What am I showing the viewer? And remember, all you've got's 4 values, so don't go esoteric on me. But what is that dark number 4 value showing the viewer? What is it telling the viewer? Is it educating them? Is it giving them a knowledge bomb? Is it telling them the doingness of this pose? All right, and then those shapes that are descriptive also need to be in rhythms. Right, design those rhythmic shapes. Right, I know, just as you get something, I introduce another concept. Wait, where'd you, what? Well, we can only take this one at a time, so just take it a step at a time. And realize there's enough here to learn for 70 lifetimes. So just sit into a nice pace. Learn to work in a joyful way. And if you work in a joyful way, no matter what you get done or how it turns out, man, you win. You win. Okay, so it looks like we got about 3 minutes left on this one. So I want to get my gray background in there, not as dark as my shadow. I notice sometimes as I'm doing this stuff, things get a little murky, right? We can go back and clean up, but it's important not to leave like the tone of the paper between the gray and the dark number 4, because that won't look no good. That won't look no good. That's not proper English, is it? I can't imagine anybody who proper English is important to them has hung around this long. Probably not my strong suit. Not my strongest suit. But we're working on it. We're working on it. Again, that kneaded eraser is an important tool. Clean those shapes up. Right? The bigger, flatter those shapes, the more round they are. Now, if these were a little longer studies, I would ask that, you get the viewer right to the face. But just with 10 minutes, there's a lot to do. A lot to do in a short amount of time. So I think, Claudia, you turned, wasn't this the pose you turned in that we did this morning? Not the one I'm working on now, but the first one? I think it was. And I think yours looked a lot like mine ended up looking, if I remember right. So kudos to you. As a little reminder, on jasonmeyer.com under Sketch Club, hover your mouse there and you'll see a little thing called reference images pop up. Click on that and you can get a better images of the Sketch Club reference images we use this week. Right, and you're welcome to download those or just work from them right from the website, and you can enlarge those too. So that resource is there for you, free of charge. We have begun our online school. We're very happy about that, and we're building it out as we go. You can find all the information here on the website about the online school, as well as our monthly classes. The school has courses you can do on your own, as well as the monthly classes where there'll be live meetings and feedback. Okay, we're wrapping it up. How did everybody do tonight? How did everybody do tonight? Oh, don't you see? No, yours was just as good as that, Claudia. Don't be selling yourself short. What happened? What happened? We got a new host? My cameras. My cameras keep disappearing and they flip-flop on me. Hi-ya! There we go. That feels better. Yeah, that's right, Randy. You'll have to online school. It's pro, man. It's pro. It's pro. Stick gestures. We'll see. We're going to be back at Still Life soon, Claudia. We're going to be back at Still Life soon, so don't you worry about it. Okay, let's watch a rewind and wind it up for the night. So in about 1 minute, we're going to see the whole 20 minutes happen. Notice how I start with those big abstract forms, and then we'll make it into the particular. To the particular. A workout. Yes, it is. A workout. You're welcome, Susan. You are welcome. All right, so again, it all comes back to these light-dark patterns, but there's a lot underlying these light-dark patterns. All right, it's just 4 values. How hard could it be? That's a joke. That's a joke. So it's amazing how sophisticated 4 values can get and how beautiful things can get with them. So it's such a fun journey. All right, again, what's going on? Oh, we'll flip around one last time. There we go. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging in tonight, for all the hard work. We're seeing big improvements from everybody. Tomorrow in class, over this shoulder, you see the rub out. We'll go over that. We'll look at some of your 4 value studies. And then Monday morning in class, we're going to do the Zorn palette color study of E as a demo. And that's Thursday night. So that's it for this week. We'll be back Sunday night for Sketch Club to the public. And in between that, we'll see everybody tomorrow morning. Remember, there's 2 courses, 8:15 for the A group. And is it 9:45 for the B group? I think it's 9:45 for the B group. Tomorrow morning. Thanks again, everybody. Bye-bye.